Hi, everybody. Whether you're joining us live or watching the replay, thank you for joining us for our week 4 question and answer. I can't believe we're halfway done with this challenge. It has been going super fast, and I am just loving all of the new habits and some old habits that I'm getting fine tuning, I should say. So that's been really fun. And this week we are talking about the 3B's, which are foods that come in a box, in a bag, or with a barcode, and trying to avoid them as much as possible. If you read the post on Monday, I pointed out that we don't want to completely eliminate them or think in our head, oh, I can't have those anymore. Because as soon as you go into that, I can't, it's elimination, it's not good for me, and you start categorizing foods like that, it plays with your mind. And then it's like that law of attraction. If you think you can't have it, guess what you want? All of those bad things, right? So I really want to focus on the word replacing. So replacing some of those foods with healthier options, good options, better options, and best options as often as you can. And so obviously life happens, right? And sometimes we're on the go, we're traveling, we have kids, you can't do everything fresh all of the time. So we have some healthy options that we wanted to talk about. First of all, when you are getting something from a bag, from a box, or with a barcode, try and read your ingredients and get familiar with reading ingredients, okay? Try and do 5 ingredients or less if possible, and look for things like artificial sweeteners like sucralose, Splenda, things like that. Look for, you don't want any seed oils in those things. Look for just, if you can't pronounce it, it's probably not good to put into your body. So I'm just thinking for myself, like when I travel, I always grab the RX bars. They're made with like 4 or 5 ingredients, and they're all natural. It's like dates, a nut, egg whites are in there. Those are something that I grab because I know what all of the ingredients are and I can read them all, and it's 5 or less. Always try and grab, like, if you can, fresh fruits and vegetables, have those stocked in your fridge. Those are good options as well. I love Kara because Kara's got littles at home. She was telling me the other week that her fridge is a safety zone. Like, they can go into the fridge and get anything they want because that's where all the healthy stuff is. If they want something out of the pantry, then they need to ask ahead of time. Okay. She's got kids. She's, got that pantry going, but she's got healthy options in there. But the fridge is what she calls her safe zone. And if you think about that, that's where we keep all of those healthy things, right? So just really trying to get familiar with reading labels. And even when you're going for like fruits and vegetables, try and grab fresh whenever you can, because even freezing them or putting them in a can, that is some sort of processing, right? Now, I do like frozen frozen fruits in my smoothies because it brings a little, it almost like icy, makes them more of a smoothie rather than just putting fresh fruit in there. So that's something that I do. I would say that's a better option, not the best. It's not fresh, but it's a better option. Better than getting like canned, like pie filling fruit to put in something, right? Kara unmuted. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I'm just going to add to that. So I think that like fresh and frozen, they can be equal a lot of times too, because like canned for sure, processing, totally agree. And sometimes frozen can be too, but in our day and age, we pick produce so early to ship it all around the world, and then we freeze it. So sometimes that's the drawback of your frozen, is that by the time it gets to you, it was picked early. So you're missing some nutrients, but then the stuff that's fresh in the grocery store was also picked a long time ago and kept cold and shipped all around the world too. So that's why I say nowadays they're kind of like equal, unless you're growing it yourself in your backyard and you can pick it like right when it's ripe and get all the nutrients from it. So yeah, I think either one is fine, fresh or frozen, but less with the canned, because canned is always going to have salt and extra preservatives.
Yeah, especially with fruit, they put a lot of extra sugars in the fruits as well. And even in canned vegetables. I know my son, pre-plexus, my son was having a lot of digestive issues. And so him and I did the Whole30, which you can't have any sugars, in anything. And I was trying to make tomato sauce and trying to find canned tomatoes without added sugar was really, really hard. So even canned vegetables, if you look at the label, a lot of the time it's sugar. Healthy things like peanut butter has, if you're not buying like a natural peanut butter where the ingredients are just peanuts and salt, it's usually peanuts, hydrogenated oil of some form, sugar. They put all sorts of stuff in there. So really look a lot at your labels, even with things that are quote unquote healthy, because even some of the healthy things, they're putting stuff in there because it makes the shelf life longer.
Yeah,
So,
sugar is a natural preservative and it's cheap. So that's why they like that one. Like when we bottle stuff at home, if you grow your own stuff and then you bottle pears, bottle peaches, bottle whatever, we use sugar water to preserve that because it's cheap. So,
yeah. So just really, like I said, focusing not on eliminating all of those bags, boxes, and barcodes, but just really paying attention to what's in them and trying to make a better choice or the best choice. Like what would be a next best option for you? And what I would do is like looking at your pantry, I would slowly, like every week, maybe take a couple things out and then replace them with a better or best option, like salad dressings, right? If you look at ingredients in salad dressings, a lot of them not good for you. Okay. So you could make your own with just like olive oil, vinegar, and some seasonings or some lime juice, things like that. There's lots of, you can just, Google fresh salad dressing recipes with natural ingredients, and you can create them your own. But I don't want you to just like think you have to get rid of everything, but I would slowly like do a pantry and fridge overhaul over the next couple weeks, taking stuff out. The easy ones to get rid of first, anything that's expired. I did this a couple weeks ago. I always do that around Christmas time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how is this still in our fridge? So just getting rid of things that are expired and then replacing things over the next couple weeks with better and best options. I know someone had asked a question about wanting to know what about the new lean protein shakes and the new lean snack things. Those would be better options, right? They're not completely fresh. They're not completely whole. They are processed in some form, but the ingredients in them are a better option than going and buying like a protein shake at like Walmart or Costco, or any type of granola bar or protein bar. Again, at like a Walmart or Costco, not going to have as natural ingredients as we have in lean.
Yeah. Or like a candy bar, because you were like, well, I don't want to have anything processed. And then you wait and wait and wait, and then you're starving and you just grab whatever. So that's right. When those nice quick fixes can be great.
Yeah. And something I enjoy, like some of the snacks that I have just as go-tos is if you have an Aldi near you or even at other grocery stores, 100-calorie nut packs, like just raw almonds. Or they have like an almond and walnut one as well. I like string cheese in my fridge, fruits, veggies. And what I do is on Sundays, I cut up and wash all the veggies so that they're grab and go. Because if I'm like, oh, I'm hungry and I'd love some veggies and hummus maybe. Oh, but I haven't cleaned anything. That's going to take time. So preparing ahead of time and having those fresh snacks ready to go really eliminates a lot of frustration and failure later in the week because you're ready to go with those healthy snacks.
Totally. I agree. We forgot we were going to start with wins. We want to shout out some wins real quick, and then I'll go into a couple more obstacles that might come with incorporating less 3B's and stuff. But we always like to hear the wins. So how's it going? And what are some wins for this week? You can type them, or if you want to unmute, Alicia, you can. Janelle, you can share yours as well. I was thinking today for mine, like snacking is always my downfall. It's a habit more than like a craving. And so today I was making sure I got a serving of my fruits with my lunch. And it's been fine. Like this last 4 hours, totally fine. Not even really wanting to snack at all. And so just like that was a win for me, like reminding myself that not to snack, because right now we just get our point for the 12 hours overnight. And so like I can still cheat, right? Like I don't have to do the 4 and the 4 part. And so I'm trying to hold myself to a higher standard and do the 4 and the 4 so that I'm not snacking throughout the day. So that was my win.
Well, and I just to kind of piggyback that, mine would be, I used to always, so at school, my lunch is right around noon. And then when the kids have an afternoon snack around 3, I always have like a fruit. Usually it's an apple or something like that. And that was just I've discovered out of habit, because I've eliminated that trying to go the 4 hours and I'm really not hungry because I'm eating a satiating lunch that's full of protein, getting my 70 grams of protein in and some healthy fats in there with avocado as well. So I have learned that if I listen to my body, that afternoon snack at 3 o'clock was really just a habit. It wasn't a necessary thing that my body needed. And so I've been able to eliminate that. And now, like that first week, it was hard, but now I'm like, I don't even think about it because I'm not hungry at that time. So that's been a big win.
Yeah.
A struggle
That's
for me
awesome.
still is getting a 10-minute walk after a meal. So it's been too cold to walk outside after lunch. And I've done it, what's today, Thursday? I didn't do it last night. So I did it Monday and Tuesday after dinner on my treadmill.
Awesome. Just a little note on that. Like today I was sitting after lunch and I was sitting at my desk and I needed to get some stuff done so I didn't have time to go for a walk. But I literally just like did this with my legs up and down, like sat at my desk like I was walking. And it still like it was hard to keep it going for 10 minutes. But I did. So
it'd probably be a good core workout too, because you're lifting your legs.
I felt like it was. I was like, I'm working my core too. It was great.
Yeah.
I was trying to lift them really high. So awesome. Alicia, do you have a chance to like type or unmute? We'd love to hear win or struggle or struggle. She might just be listening though. I know she's got her kiddos. And the flu hit their house last week. I hope you guys are feeling better. I know.
And if you're watching on the replay, go ahead for an extra point to put a comment in or like a win in the comment section or a question after listening to this. If you have a question or a comment in the comment section on watching the replay, go ahead and do that. And that'll give you an extra point for your points total this week.
Yes, totally. So if you're live or if you participate in the comments on the replay, you get an extra point either way. Okay, so I'm going to move on then to one of the common concerns or obstacles that people always say with avoiding the 3B's, which really means incorporating more real food into your diet, especially fruits and vegetables. And one thing Janelle said is that when I'm eating like a balanced meal of like protein and fat, I often forget about the vegetables and the fruit because I'm satiated, but there is still a lot of benefits from fruits and vegetables, we know, and they're real fruits, and they do have a lot of fiber, which helps with regularity and all kinds of, that actually helps with blood sugar control, and your gut health as well. So they are important to get in. And I like that when you move them up to eat them with the meal, they're not going to be spiking your blood sugar. It's when you eat that apple on an empty stomach that it spikes your sugar. Obviously not like a candy bar. It's still a better choice than a candy bar, good, better, best. But moving it up with a meal and then having that break for 4 hours is going to be great for your blood sugar. So anyway, but the obstacle I often hear is cost. And a lot of times people will say, I don't know if you've heard this, Janelle, or if you feel this, Alicia, and I used to think this too, was that I would love to eat healthy. I would love to have grass-fed, grass-finished beef. I would love to have organic produce, but it's expensive. And so people end up choosing less things, or they shop in the middle of the store instead of the perimeter where all the good healthy stuff is. Remember in COVID, how all the shelves were empty on like the inside of the store? I never once saw a store that was out of vegetables and fruits, but they were out of toilet paper and they were out of pasta and they were out of mac and cheese. And you know what I mean? And that's because that's where all the cheap crap is. But the problem with all that is that it's processed and it's high in carbs, which means you're going to train your body to run every 2 hours on needing a new carb source. And so when you switch over to eating real food, fruits and vegetables, proteins and fats, and you're eating them 4 hours apart, you're training your body to rely on your fat stores for energy once it's gone through your food source. And that means you need less. You fill up faster when you eat real food, which means you eat less food overall, and then that saves you money. So up front, it may not look like it's saving you money when you look at something that's processed, like a box of mac and cheese, versus, you know, I'm trying to think, like, I don't know, maybe you want like just apples, you know, like a bag of apples, box of mac and cheese. Which one are you going to feed your kids type thing? Well, a bag of apples goes a lot farther than one box of mac and cheese. But also after they eat that box of mac and cheese, 20 minutes later, they're going to be hungry, right? Whereas if they eat an apple with some peanut butter, maybe a string cheese with it, they're good. That's a great lunch. They're not going to be hungry again until dinner, right? So anyway, that's one thing I've definitely found to be true. Like, put it to the test. If you think it's more expensive, you will buy less stuff if you are eating real food. and you'll just need less of it. But the other thing I see people do with cost is that they're like, okay, gung ho, I'm going to go out, I'm going to buy all this healthy stuff, and they go and they overbuy their fruits, their vegetables, and it goes bad before they can use it. And then they're just tossing it in their garbage, and they're like, oh, so much money wasted. So don't do that. Like, start with a couple things that you know you can use up that week. And if you use them up, go get more. Like, you can go to the grocery store again. But if you're feeling like it's too expensive or you're throwing it away, then buy it in smaller quantities. Bulk is not always cheaper. You might get a great price up front, but if you're wasting it, then it's not cost effective. So that's one thing that I had to like kind of step back to and be like, okay, we can't eat a whole bag of apples and oranges and 2 bags of grapes and 3 bags of carrots and the celery sticks and the peppers all in 1 week. Like, we just don't go through it that much. So pick and choose a couple to incorporate each month or each week. And then as you get used to using it up and not being the option for your kids to reach to, you can add a little bit more. So that would be what I'd say with cost.
Yeah. And, you know, something else, because sometimes it is hard to get. I think people don't struggle to get fruit in because it's sweeter and we tend to like it more. But if you're struggling to get your vegetables in, we do have a greens option. Plexus has a greens option, and I need to put it more visible in my kitchen because and it's got great, it's like a serving of vegetables. So I like to put it in with a smoothie with my lean shake, because it is, I'm not going to lie, it's gritty. If you just have it by itself, it tastes good. Like it tastes like fruit. It tastes more like a berry. But if you just have it by yourself, or I know some people mix it in with their Slim or their Active or their Hydrate, then it is more gritty and you have to shake it a lot. But if you put it in with a smoothie, it's not gritty because it's in the smoothie mixture, and you're getting a serving of vegetables with that so easily. So that is an option if you're like, oh, I'm good on the fruit, because you really want to be eating more vegetables every day than fruits. I'd say maybe 1 to 2 servings of fruits, but fruits still have, it's natural, but they still are high in sugar and carbs. And like Kara said, especially if you're eating them on an empty stomach, it's going to cause your blood sugar to spike. And if you are having them with a meal, I mean, if you want to get really technical, you should eat it towards the end of the meal. You should start your meal with your fats and protein and have your carbs towards the end of the meal.
Yeah. Our fruits are actually genetically modified to have more sugar. Nobody likes a red, delicious apple. Everybody wants the gala apple, right? Or the, like, I'm trying to think of those, like the pink lady one, right? Because they taste better. They're sweeter. And that's because we genetically modify our fruit to have more sugar in it. Like, we're just killing ourselves everywhere. We've just messed up fruit too. And so, yeah, vegetables are just naturally going to have less. And so it's a great spot. We didn't want to make it complicated. So we just said 3 servings of fruits or vegetables to get your points for trying to avoid 3B's and incorporate more food, but aim to be heavier on the vegetables than the fruit. If you're trying to lose weight, you want to be less than 70 grams of carbs in a day. And if you're eating a bunch of fruit, it's going to be a little bit harder. So there was something else I was going to say with what you were saying.
Lean, I was talking about the greens.
Oh, the greens. I was going to say, yeah, the greens is hard for me. One thing is if you mix it with collagen smooths things out. So that helps. A lot of people like the greens and the Slim and the collagen together. One way that I like it though, is I have just mixed it in with strawberry Chobani Greek yogurt. And that's like the only way I can eat it, because I have a little bit harder time with textures. And so if I mix it in there, the strawberry and this berry flavor, they complement each other really well, and it smooths it out, and then I can eat it. So it's a great way to get some greens in. Again, it would be a good choice. Better choice would be the actual fresh vegetables, but it's a great way to get some extra greens in. And there's other green powders out there. Just make sure you read the label. Make sure that it's just greens in the label. If it's full of processes or added sugar or fake sugar, it's no good. It's hurting you more than it's helping you. So you'd want something just strictly greens.
Yeah.
So awesome. Alicia says, I'm definitely becoming more aware of what I'm eating. Still struggling to walk. Have been trying to shop the perimeter. Huge win. The perimeter is where it's at. Right. And I love that it goes in these, like, the pendulum swings where like eggs are super cheap and then they're super expensive. And then it goes back to where they're super cheap, and we can just all shop their perimeter in our happy state, and everybody else can be in the middle of the store. But right now it's higher, but it's still worth it. I promise you, put it to the test. Quit buying all the junk, buy real food. You'll eat less. Your family will eat less if you buy and eat real food. And as far as the walk, just schedule it in. Even if you're just like walking around your house for 10 minutes, that's better than just sitting on the couch after eating. Sitting on the couch is when we get all sleepy and tired and we're like, oh, I don't want to get back up. So if you finish dinner and you stand up and you wash the dishes and load the dishwasher right away and put the food away, you're walking back and forth a little bit. And then if you just walk the hall for a minute, scroll Facebook while you walk the hall for 10 minutes. Like it'll be, it's fine. It's good. So, alrighty. I think that's it. Anything else, Janelle?
I was just when you said, about eggs going expensive and then cheap and expensive again, and they are on the pricey side right now. It's all relative though, right? Like when you think about, I was laughing, someone was complaining about eggs at school, and I know that person buys a very large $6 to $7 Starbucks drink like 3 days a week. And I'm like, that's like 3 dozen eggs right there.
Right.
So it's all relative, right? But that's another thing that you can prep. I do this every Sunday is I boil a dozen eggs and then I peel them. So they're literally grab and go and they're in the fridge. So that's another protein, healthy fat snack to grab and have available as a best option.
Yeah. And like if you go to Costco, they have hard boiled eggs already ready for you to go if you don't want to boil your own. I'm like Janelle, just once a week I boil hard boiled eggs, put them in there. And now I've started filling them because kids weren't eating them because that was too much work. So I've started like shelling them and then just sitting them in the container and they're eating them. So all the hard boiled eggs were gone this week. And then I was going to also make a quick note about cost again, is that not everything has to be organic. So if you've heard of the Dirty Dozen, shop organic for the Dirty Dozen. Google it if you don't know what I'm talking about, but the Dirty Dozen are the fruits and vegetables, primarily fruits, that you do want to buy organic. It's usually because you're going to eat the pill. You're going to eat the skin. So like grapes, strawberries, all berries, apples, those kinds of things, you do want to buy organic when you can, just because they're going to have pesticides. It's hard to get it off of those shells and you're eating the whole thing. But like a banana where you're peeling it and you're eating the inside, I don't think it's on the Dirty Dozen list. So anyway, if you don't want to buy organic, at least just buy fruits and vegetables. That's still going to be better. And then if you can buy some things organic, that's going to be even better. So good, better, best again. But not everything needs to be organic is what I'm trying to say. So
perfect.
All right. Awesome. Can't wait to hear your wins. Put them in the comments if you watch the replay. Thanks, guys. We are moving right along. We have 3 weeks left, 3.5 weeks left. So you guys are doing great.
Thanks,